What up, Real Channel? What up, Argy? What's up, Jonathan? What's up, Juan Jose? Ladies and gentlemen, we are right now, before we start gaming, we will be listening to the founders of the Ronin Network. They will be talking. I'm not really sure what they're going to talk about today, but I think a lot of people are interested in the vision of a Ronin right now and the direction that Ronin wants to take. So a lot of people are wondering. So this is kind of good. This is good. I'm definitely interested. I want to see what they're gonna say, and yeah. Oh shit! What just happened? Anyways, the point is that yeah, we are going to listen to this, and let's meanwhile, let's spark up. I do have a game here. Bomb. While the town hall starts, let's go ahead and farm some. There we go. Maybe buy some chickens here. I think they're starting.
For those who have just joined, welcome. We'll be starting the stage real soon, in a few more minutes.
All right. I'll be back.
Geos, your camera is on this Discord stage.
Hello, can you hear me?
We can hear you. Audio good.
Great, yeah, so no video on this screen. That's what you said?
That's right.
All right,
Just through the other link.
got it.
All right, let's see what they have to say.
Let me see, where's the chat? Uh,
What's up, D-Monk? What's up, DSI?
You should be able to see it. It's like a little chat bubble.
On the top right of the screen.
There we go. Go chat. All right, nice. We got the Ronke army fully present here. Good.
Requesting raid.
Takes me back actually, Jeff, to some of the early Axie town halls.
How do I send an invite to this channel? Oh, here we got it. Boom.
All right, I'm gonna have to retweet this on Twitter as well.
20 seconds, y'all. Hope you're ready. All right. What's going on, everybody? Thank you so much for being here at the very first Ronin Town Hall. Now, I am Ryan. I'm going to be the host today, and we are joined by two of the Ronin founders, Jihos and Psych Out. Jihos, would you like to say a few words about yourself before passing the mic over to Psych Out?
What up, everybody? I'm Jiho. I'm co-founder of SkyMavis. Yeah, just excited to be here. Excited for the first Ronin Town Hall. It's been eventful time, so definitely good to check in with the community. Yeah, I think we'll go through some of the recent victories, talk through kind of the macro climate, Ron, what's been on everybody's minds. Yeah, so thanks for joining us, and yeah, excited to chat today.
Okay.
All right, thanks, Jeff and Ryan. Hi, everyone. I'm Alexander, also one of the co-founders. Lead the business side at SkyMavis. I'm Ronin, so happy to be here. Talk to you all about what's happening in the market, what's happening at Ronin, what we're excited about, and yeah, what we know that's hard, of course. So just want to show our face a little bit and make sure that you guys know we're here. As we always say, we're still building, and we're excited about the future. So definitely a lot to touch on here.
Yeah, there absolutely is. There's a lot to go through today. There's a lot to go through. And I guess we should hop right into it. About Ronin token and market overview. Yeah, obviously there's been a bit of a dip lately, but that doesn't necessarily define what like the overall view of the company, So
Yeah. So I mean, maybe Jeff, yeah, you want to go through some of the stats first, and then we can go into some more positive stuff. Or stats are positive too, but talk a little bit more general.
Yeah, sure. I mean, when there's something that I always like to look at when things are hard, which is a quote in something that Jeff Bezos, the CEO of Amazon, wrote, where he talked about how in 2001, all of Amazon's numbers, their data, was getting better. It was surging, and the numbers were much higher than they were the year before. However, the price of Amazon shares had decreased by around 80%, right? You were seeing the pop or the decline of basically everything that was an internet company at that time, regardless of whether it was good or bad. The money was just fleeing the market at that time. And in a lot of ways, I see similarities with Ronin, right? How could the price of Ron be where it was, last year or almost a year and a half ago when we've made so much progress, right? The Ronin Wallet has been downloaded over 18 million times. And we have over 1.5 million monthly active addresses, right? Activity on Ronin right now is actually higher than it was during the Axie boom, right? We've seen tons of new builders come onto Ronin with the transition to permissionless Ronin, right? We've gone from 75 teams and developers building on Ronin to 140, right? So that's almost basically doubling of the number of builders. So how could this be happening? How could Ron be going down? Well, when you have to also always take into account the macro environment. Right now, over the last 3 months, alts have been really, really destroyed, right, against Bitcoin. And we're seeing a lot of issues, right, or with the macro environment with tariffs. And, we have to be also honest about where gaming sits on the risk curve. Right? Gaming is one of the most experimental, is basically the most experimental and kind of innovative subset of the crypto market. That means that when things are going really well and there's a lot of liquidity coming into the market, gaming tends to do really well. So I was looking at the data of which sectors performed the best in the 45 days after Trump won. And it was actually AI and gaming, right? Those were actually the two sectors that performed the best in the 45 days right after. So that shows, right? When liquidity is going well, gaming and Ron are performing well. However, when liquidity dries up, gaming, AI, meme coins, all of these things basically decline, especially relative to Bitcoin. And so that's basically how I see it, right? Where our data continues to get better, we continue to attract more developers. These are the things that matter the most in the medium to the long term. However, right,
Yeah.
like markets in the short term can be very irrational, right? So markets in the short term can be a voting machine, a popularity contest, or just based on the whims of the market. Whereas in the long run, right, we've built this ecosystem to do better as we get more players, we get more developers, we get more traction on the chain, we get more usage of Ron. And that's not also to mention that, we actually set up the Ron token to continuously, right, earn fees in the treasury as the protocol gets more used. That's actually not the case with most protocols, right? So basically a portion of all ERC20 volume on Ronin is going into the treasury. A portion of all the NFT volume is going into the treasury. So I'll pause there.
Yeah, thanks, Jeff. I think it's a pretty good high level summary of where we are today when we just look at the general traction of Ronin, right? I mean, there's a lot of builders that are coming in, and when I was at GDC, I met so many people who were building on Ronin who I had never even talked to before, and to me that was amazing, because even when we look back in building Axie, creating Ronin, we were always quite protective about, letting other people build with us. In hindsight, perhaps that was a little bit of a mistake, and we should have been more open earlier. But we've unfortunately had to say no to so many different teams. I would say like probably over 1,000 different developers have wanted to build on Ronin. On the bright side, we now have 140 or so. But I think it's just amazing to see so many people actually using the network and wanting to work with us and build with us. So I jokingly say that I feel like an evangelist for Ronin, where I'm just kind of going around and clapping for all the developers that are building with us. And the way that I think about it is the way that we succeed from Ronin perspective is if that developers that are building with us, they succeed. So that means game developers that are going to market with their launches. That means other DeFi application developers, SocialFi. Basically, what we want to do is we want them to succeed, launch into a active user base, which are then going to use their products and learn to love them, just as they love Axie and the other games that we have right now. And I think we have a lot of education to do throughout the space to actually show other developers that there is a lot of users here. And I really want to highlight some of the metrics that you said when it comes to the wallet. So if you can put that up on the screen here, the wallet has actually been downloaded. The Ronin Wallet has been downloaded over 18 million times. Now those are some insane numbers, and close to 6 million of those downloads are on mobile. Like, I would probably say that's like in the top 5 of all blockchain wallets. Now, I don't have those metrics like right in front of me, but those numbers are actually pretty crazy. So when we start to talk to other developers outside of Ronin, they actually don't know about this. So it's actually our job to educate people more and more and more about the users that we have here, because the distribution that we have from Ronin perspective is probably the biggest sales point that we have. The community, you guys, right? And when I look at the Ronin community and the Axie community from the past, I see a lot of shared victories, but I also see a lot of shared suffering. And what makes me happy about that is that the shared suffering and the shared victories, these are moments that we've had together, that we've gone through and been building in the space. We've been hacked, we've survived that. We've kept staying on the path, the building path, and just walking the road and trying to make this entire ecosystem into something. And for all of you guys who are in this community still, after all of these things that we've gone through, that is actually the foundation for the future of Ronin, and actually what I think will bring us to the highest of highs. So when I compare it to, let's say, for example, Solana, like the deepest of despairs, that was actually just shortly after the FTX hack, or the FTX kind of blowout, for those of you guys who remember that. And that, I think, actually rallied the community together at such a deep level, which is very, very similar to what I think we have in Ronin. And that, to me, is something that is almost impossible to replicate without time, right? So in some sense, time is difficult to handle, and like it's very abstract. We don't really know what's going to happen in 3 to 5 to 10 years. But the fact is that we have like 7 to 8 years of history throughout Axie, throughout Ronin now, is an incredible advantage. And I think we actually saw a big part of that happen when the meme coin launches happened with Tama meme, because we saw so many cultural things kind of appear out of Tama.meme. Now, of course, some of them have kind of evolved into Ronke, which is super interesting. But even the Coco token, I think CloudWhite has its own token. Like, there's a lot of history here that maybe some of you guys who are newer into Ronin don't really know about. But, I usually say that, without Coco, for example, Axie and SkyMavis wouldn't have been here. So there's a lot of history and a lot of things that connect us all, that are building in this community, that are building and trying to really make this into something bigger. And it has to really start with us. Everyone who's in this stage and in this room and listening on Twitter here, you're all a part of this kind of movement, and spreading this around to the developers so that they can actually see that there are real people here, there are real buyers here, and there are people that they should be serving. They should be coming to Ronin to give you guys better experiences, to give you guys new things to do on chain. And it's our job from the Ronin side and from SkyMavis side to enable those developers to succeed. So I'm really excited about this kind of next step into the Ronin Network's future, where we are now more open, we're more collaborative, and the best part is we can actually get like some amazing business deals as well. For example, such as the OpenSea partnership, where actually some parts of the revenue that every single trade that's happening on OpenSea is going right into the Ronin protocol treasury. Now that is incredibly unique if you think about it from like a industry perspective. And I think that has also largely been ignored from the industry, which is something that that we actually need to do a better job of highlighting. So, when I look out at the Ronin Twitter and like the crypto Twitter, where people are either they're super happy about Ronin, they're complaining about price, all of those things, right? I do what Jeff said. Like I look at the fundamentals, I look at the community. Are we better today than what we were yesterday? That's actually one of the key things that we need to remember. Do we show up every day? Do we go to the Ronin gym or whatever else that might be your passion in life? But you still have to keep improving. And I think that's really how you build a strong foundation and a strong network. And we have to kind of face it, right? This is not an easy path what we're on here. Building Axie on its own, like building a crypto game, is super, super difficult on its own. But building a blockchain network, something that can onboard millions of users, if not hundreds of millions of users, if not every single human being in the world into crypto, that is incredibly difficult. And it requires everyone who's in here to actually believe that this can be done, that we can bring in all the developers, that we can provide great services, tools, games, user experiences for new people. So that's really what I'm passionate about now.
Yeah, there's been like despite the lull in the market, I mean, there's been nothing but growth from the Ronin side. I mean, there's been so many new developers hopping on Ronin since Permissionless came out about 2 months ago, and we've seen quite a few like gaming victories. Most recently with the partnership between Fishing Frenzy and SkyMavis.
Yeah. So I have a disclaimer here before we kind of continue. I was an early seed investor in Uncharted, or the creators of Fishing Frenzy. I followed along with Derek. Derek's whose background is from Guild of Guardians. He was working with Mutable before, and then now he's working with Ronin. And the funny thing is, like when he says that there's massive differences working with these different type of teams, right? Me and Jeff, we work together on the publishing side of SkyMavis, where our goal is developer empowerment and actually giving these game developers the highest chance of success, right? So we help them launch into the market, make it sure that maybe they don't sell too much NFTs, maybe try to guide them on the path to creating more solid token economies. Basically, a lot of advisory and those kind of services that maybe game developers are needing. And there are certain game developers that are more receptive to the feedback that we have. I think Jeff has a great creator kind of guidelines to what different types of game developers should be doing when they go to market on Ronin, so that they can enable these developers to actually succeed. Fishing Frenzy has been one of them. I think Cambria has also been doing really well in terms of actually educating the creators so that they can create even better informational kind of videos about the game to their communities, right? So a lot of what we do here is we try to educate developers so that they can educate their communities, and from there on out, they can have a bigger chance of succeeding. And the great thing about Fishing Frenzy and Derek and JW from that team is they are very iterative. They want to experiment. They're very excited about seeing something get loved on Ronin. And it's not only them, right? We have many other developers that are iterative and do that too. Runeterra, Forgotten Ruins. I think Fableborn is another great example. So, I mean, there's a lot of these type of developers that want to work with us, and I actually take our feedback seriously because we have a lot of learnings that we have from Axie that we want to impart to these developers. So Fishing Frenzy, right now, they are all the rage from our side because, of course, we decided to fund them. And this is actually not public, but I'll share a little bit about how we work with some teams. Is SkyMavis makes investments as well. I think we've invested about $10 million in various teams so far. We haven't really announced that publicly. Some teams do end up announcing that we are partnered in some way. Some of these teams get grants from us. There's a lot of different things. So we work to support the ecosystem. We want builders to build with us, and we want them to succeed because there is this concept in startup terms, which is called a net promoter score. A net promoter score basically means that how likely is the partner to recommend you to another studio or to another customer. So our goal here is that all of the studios that are building on Ronin, all of the application developers, that they have like a 10 out of 10 experience building with us, with our tools, with our services, with everything else that we have, so that they are promoting us to their other friends and developers. Now that's easier said than done, right? We have a lot of things that we still need to improve on. You know, I saw some guys having issues with Ronin Waypoint. You know, I have some great news there. Ronin Waypoint and the Ronin Wallet, yeah, they're going to be merged together. It's going to be an amazing experience in the end of it. So very excited about that. So it's
wait, I just want to interject. That basically,
all
right,
right.
a lot of the issues that we have with Waypoint is like we have Waypoint and we have Ronin Wallet, and it's very confusing the fact that they're basically split together, right? So basically, by kind of merging them together, it will become a way more seamless experience.
Seamless, yeah.
Yeah, I think a lot of what we want to, I mean, the goal that we have is how can we make the products that we have so seamless and great so that every developer that's building on Ronin, they will be using them. So one thing that we actually were internally having discussions about is, you know, when we open up Ronin, what about the competitors? What about like OpenSea or MetaMask or other things like that that are now coming onto Ronin? What we started to realize is like it's actually great for us to have more competition for our internal products as well, because it forces them to be even better. And what it means is that we're going to create a bigger pie. So we need to be more open so that the pie can keep growing. So that's a little bit of some of the reasoning for also choosing to open up Ronin.
I'll just go through some of the, I'll talk about Fishing Frenzy a bit, maybe, right? So from a personal point of view, I'm actually playing Fishing Frenzy every day. And, I've got the battle pass. I'm getting my frenzy points. I believe I'm in like the top 1,000 or so on the frenzy points leaderboard. And, I actually really like it because as someone who's pretty busy and I don't have like a ton of time to be gaming, on your average day on the weekdays, I know I can just come in, spend my energy really quickly. I can do the 5x energy boost and basically spend my energy faster and basically finish my session within 5 to 10 minutes or so and potentially catch something really fun, right? So I'm basically able to experience the full session really quickly. It's relaxing. I feel like I'm touching water. And I've been really impressed with how the team has executed. They just shipped, right? They just actually shipped a new event today called the Ronin Reef. So, I've seen that all over my timeline as soon as I woke up. So make sure to check that out. And yeah, I think it's a very good. It's a game that's basically perfectly fitting for the time where people are stressed out, they're feeling anxious. Also they launched when memes had just launched on Ronin. So, I think it's a perfect type of game where when you're feeling a little bit stressed out, you want to reconnect with nature. This is a way to do it straight from your phone, straight from the comfort of your own room. And what is going to attract more good builders to Ronin is if we can if we can have teams that come to Ronin actually succeed. And that's what we're seeing with Fishing Frenzy, right? So this is one of the games that actually came as part of Open Ronin. They were able to demonstrate to value and that they were actually successful and actually executing. We're then able to elevate them and double down and invest in them, right? So they saw a 560% increase in players when coming to Ronin. Their daily active addresses went from 10K to 40K. They saw a 12x increase in revenue. I believe that they're around $150,000 in revenue in just the recent season. Yeah, the founder passes have also done really well. They minted for 120 RON. They're already at 535 RON floor price, give or take. And so this is a case study of a team that's come to Ronin and has done what they said they were going to do. And similarly, right, we have provided value. They're the perfect example of a type of team that we can help a lot. And boom, other developers see this success and they are then attracted to come to Ronin. And that really kickstarts this virtuous cycle.
Yeah, I think what I like about Fishing Frenzy and I think that, and I've said this before in different stages, and I think I even had a couple of tweets about this, right? Is why is it so attractive for SkyMavis and for Ronin about these teams that, maybe visually aren't as pleasing as, let's say, like the AAA games, or it really depends on like how you see the games, right? So I'll share some of how I think about like games, I guess. I think that games have usually three kind of main pillars. So you have one pillar, which is the gameplay, right? You have another pillar, which is the game economy, and then you have the last pillar, which is probably graphics. And I'm much more fond of teams that are focusing more on the gameplay side and the game economy side, and making sure that those two things really fit together. And then like they spend some time on the graphics, but it's more on the focus of having a beautiful art direction rather than like some AAA amazing graphics. Because if you actually have amazing graphics, you have a game economy, and you have great gameplay, like first of all, the go-to market or the time to create that type of game could be 3 to 5 years. The cost to create those games are like 50 to 70 million dollars, and then the likelihood of those games failing are astronomically high, because you are implementing so many different new things, particularly on the game economy side, which is actually what a lot of the faulty things that have happened in crypto games has been a function of. Because people have been experimenting on the wrong thing, I would say, and they have been going to market too late, where maybe the meta game of the market has shifted already. So that's why I really like iterative teams that are really have a pulse on the market, can do things that can try out new technology. I know, Jeff, you're a big fan of ERC, the limit break, the ERC20C, I guess. I'm sure I'll give you some time to talk about that. But I love the fact that people are experimenting more on the game economy side to create solid loops, and then tie that directly into the gameplay, and then from there on out you can create solid games and iterate really fast. And that's what I like, for example, about Fishing Frenzy. I think Cambria is great about doing that. I think hopefully the Runiverse will also be able to do more stuff that's like tied directly into the Web3 side, because that to me is how you get the best possible data, and how you can actually get find out what should you be doubling down on as a developer. Jeff, you want to talk about ERC, the ERC20C token?
Sure. I mean, so one of the things that I always think about is, oh, right, like, what do we have as potential catalysts to get us out of a bit of this, right, funk, right? And I see the biggest issue with Web3 gaming right now being, right, like, how do we solve play to earn? Because we've seen, right, that there are still issues with the model, right? Where, okay, if you get a lot of users, that doesn't necessarily mean that the token will do well, because, right, like, these games are attracting users as well as bots and AI, right, via token incentives. So then the more users a game has, that also, means more sell pressure for the token, right? And so far, no project has really been able to truly figure this out. And I believe that this comes down to one fundamental issue in the space, which is tokens are really good. Why, when we think about the first principles of why should a game even have a token, which you need to think about a lot, especially in an environment where tokens aren't doing very well. why does having an ERC20 token make sense for a game? I think we're best positioned to answer this. Why? Because we're the first ones that did this, right? When we started, nobody cared about NFTs and nobody cared about gaming, crypto gaming. What made people care about it was when we started to experiment with adding tokens, SLP and AXS. These were both fundamentally very innovative tokens for slightly different reasons. But in general, right, people became way more interested in gaming when you added some ERC20 tokens to them. So why would a game even have a token, right? From first principles, right? So let's try to think about, what did we think about before we even did this, right? Before we had any evidence that it might work. The thing that we were thinking about is we wanted to give users and gamers an incentive to help the game grow. We wanted users to feel like they were owners of the games that they were playing, and for that to actually be reality. So that was, right, a lot of the thinking behind the AXS token, right? Well, if SkyMavis is the only ones who own, right, Axie or have some ownership in it, it's going to be a lot harder for us to win on our own. We need to have the community, right, fully incentivized to actually help. They're doing a lot of work, but we need to make that worth their time, especially in the long run. So you want to align long-term incentives. That's why you would have a token. But the issue is, right, as you start to give out the token, people start to min-max. They start to try to exploit the system. So as you give out tokens to your long-term believers, you're basically paying this tax to the botters, to the exploiters, to people using AI and artificial intelligence to basically farm the tokens as well. And these people are not here for the long term, right? They're just trying to farm the tokens and they're trying to sell, basically creating a lot of issues. So ERC20C is a token standard that basically allows you to modify an ERC20 token and make it more programmable. You can add way more logic into it. You can it's almost like turning a token into a mini smart contract. So in this way, right, you can basically create, for example, a version of pixels or AXS that, it can be staked to align incentives for the long term, and it can also be spent in game, but, right, it cannot be sold immediately, right? Or you need some reputation unlocks to actually be able to sell the token. Or if you want to sell it really quickly, maybe you can, but there would be a fee that actually increases, right, like protocol treasury, or increases the amount of tokens being burned. And so I believe that this is a pretty substantial breakthrough, right? Let's also remember that this is coming from the team that invented ERC 721C, which is basically used by all new NFT projects right now to ensure that creator royalties are being paid. And so this is something that I believe can actually solve play to earn, because it allows for teams to issue tokens and to have actually higher rewards while ensuring, right, that you're weeding out a lot of the short-term speculators or the bots or the farmers. And so I think that this is actually a pretty huge breakthrough, because, right, aside from just having more games, right, like we actually need a game to be able to surpass the level of traction that Axie, that Pixels had, but to do it in a way that, right, like is lasts even longer. We've had like the two most successful examples on Ronin so far of a Web3 game economy, but there are still issues that need to be solved. And actually, right, like focusing on solving those issues is actually what will get us to the next level of traction. Right, add some zeros to the amount of traction that we have in the long run. And so I believe that ERC20C or something like it will be really key to enabling us to actually figure out Web3 long-term token economics. This is also included with, right, things that we're seeing work well in Cambria right now, which is like risk to earn, real stakes, PvP, real loss. These are actually, right, high-level economic principles that we know should work in Web3 gaming because they work in games like EVE Online, right? The EVE Online economy is really held up and made sustainable via war, via real loss, people's stuff basically being destroyed as they attack each other. So yeah, I really think that innovation is key. And a lot of people will be like, having more games, right? Like, we've already had a lot of games. We already have all the most Web3 games, and it hasn't gotten us to right an exponential level of traction compared to the past. And I think there's some fairness in that, and I do believe that where has the innovation from SkyMavis, from Ronin, from Axie always come from? It's not actually really at the game design or the game level. It's always been at the token incentive level, right? We're the ones who invented having a token for a game. Therefore, it and really refined a lot of the ways about how to distribute it. So it therefore follows logically that, in order to get to the next level, we need to double down on the innovation that we've always been best at, which is basically innovation at the token incentive layer. And so I'm actually really excited about this. And, this is a way that I see to basically having games that surpass the level of traction that we've ever seen in crypto gaming, as well as on the Ronin network.
Yeah, and we are using a lot of these, the learnings and the thought processes that we have to implement in the new Axie MMO, which I jokingly said that I haven't been as bullish on any Axie game in years, maybe even since the first Axie game, like when I decided to join Axie back in late 2017. I liked the classic game to an extent. Origins was never really fully my type of game, but I'm super bullish on the new Axie MMO. So I think that's going to be great. I just want to talk a little bit more about kind of the game economy side, and because I talk to many founders and that want to build with Ronin, and it's very difficult for many, I think, Web2 founders to grasp, or Web2 games founders to think about the game economy in the same way that we do at SkyMavis and Axie and Ronin. Is every game is almost inherently an MMO, even if you don't think about it like that, because everything has a shared economy, and the timeline begins when the first asset goes to market, because some people can get ahead in some way just by owning these early assets. I think that the natural stage for Web3 games is to be very MMO-like in terms of the game flows and the way that the resources are required to harvest something, and to kind of go that entire logistics chain until it actually gets refined into something new. My hunch has always been that most of these resources, most of these things should be tokenized in some sense. I believe in free markets. So it's interesting to think about these ERC20C tokens as more closed market loops. And then I start to think about what does it mean for free markets if the tokens cannot be traded on, for example, centralized exchanges. Because when we look at SLP, for example, the intention for SLP, or nobody knew that it would get listed on Binance, but arguably a part of the reason why Axie succeeded so massively was because SLP actually got listed on Binance. So I think that with tokens that are very open, you can have magical things that happen as well. So I think there cannot be only closed loops. You have to have open tokens. You have to do a lot of experiments and be open to some of them failing. And I think that is a lot about the expectation and the management that we do to the communities, right? And when we look back at the initial distribution of SLP, SkyMavis and Axie, we were not the ones who created the first liquidity pool for SLP, right? That was actually the player base. SLP was trading for much lower than I think it was today, even at the beginning, because people were just experimenting with it. They were trying something new with the tech. And I think a little bit of the problem right now is that the expectation of some of these tokens is so high from the community that you are actually having trouble getting some really key data. So yeah, I guess we'll stop there from the game economy side, but I think that's some of the discussions that we have with the teams that we work with closely from a SkyMavis perspective to see like how can we help them think a little bit differently and integrate crypto in novel ways to kind of tap into what we think is the biggest strength is the token distribution, right? How do we give tokens to players in new and novel ways and reward the people that are actually in these games to play and have fun and to give back, right, rather than only extract. So there's a lot of those things that we spend a lot of time on, which I'm very excited about to see the end result of. Another thing that I'm spending a lot of my time on is, the Ronin Ecosystem developer ecosystem. So I do want to touch a little bit on that too, because we get a lot of questions all the time. It's like, how do we? What about the token price? What can you do? Can you buy back? Can you can you pump the token price? Right? Why is Ronin not performing? Right? So I always go back to the fundamentals. Right? Are more developers building on Ronin? Do we have net new users coming in? Is there revenue? Are these people actually spending money, or are they only extracting? And from there on out, we have to kind of give ourselves a realistic picture. What are the other catalysts that can actually take this network into mainstream, which is the goal, right? And I do say that my vision for Ronin is to bring every single human being on chain. I think the way we do that is we have a diehard community of people who love Ronin. So that's kind of what we're focusing on. And we need to spread the word that people can launch into real players, real people that want to use their applications. But that kind of work if everyone is cheating, so to say. Like, if the first thing you guys do when you get a token, you're like, oh, fuck it, like, you're just going to sell everything immediately, right? That is a pretty bad feeling too. So I think like that is what we have to educate also the community about that. Obviously, like if you get something, maybe don't sell everything immediately, right? This is not financial advice or anything like that, but listen, nobody ever made it in life by selling everything that they had immediately, right? You have to believe in something. You have to hold on to some assets over time and see what happens. These are just kind of the facts, right? So, maybe try some products. If you get some tokens, sure, sell a little, but, probably not a good idea to sell literally everything that you guys are getting.
Also say, right, like, I actually think, right, like that the real gamers and the real believers are predominantly holding, right? One of the issues that we see in the games, right, is that actually the property rights of the real gamers are basically being infringed on by AI, by these bots that are coming in and basically, right, like stealing tokens from the protocol and the ecosystem and then selling them. Uh, and right, so better ways to figure out how to prevent that type of behavior, I think, is important, because I do believe that, right. Uh, and and when you look at the data, right, it's like the actual real gamers are predominantly holding way more than, right, the people who are basically exploiting the system and creating a lot of bots and creating a lot of basically using like artificial intelligence, right, to infringe on the rights of humans. So that's kind of one of the ways that I think about ERC20C, because people were like, oh, like, are you technically, right, like making, right, like people less free by adding some constraints to these tokens? It's like, well, no, because I actually see their property rights as being infringed upon by, right, these botters, by these AI that are coming in and basically stealing tokens from the rest of the community.
Yeah, and exactly, like that's always what we try to avoid. We actually want to reward the real humans and you guys who are here, so that you can take part in the value that's being created here. That's always been the part of the goal here, because we think that every human being, right, you have an unlimited potential to create something to take Ronin to the next level. But bot, or if the tokens just go into the hands of like one person when they're intended to go into the hands of like 10,000, like obviously that one person can enrich himself or herself, but the 10,000 people that would get those tokens, they would be able to do something much bigger, right? Evangelize the network outwards, right? Sometimes when you come into crypto, you start to think like, holy crap, is this real? Like, are people just giving me money? I mean, yes, you get money, but more than that, you get ownership or something meaningful, a stake in a decentralized protocol that can be something much more in the future than it is today, right? They are trying to buy your attention so that you care about it enough to research into it and to learn about it. And I think that's really where we have to go back into the core of like what is exciting about this tech as well, is there's a lot of different things to learn here, right? And I think that's where SkyMavis and Ronin and actually we have a very important place in the ecosystem. We're educators in many ways. When I look back into the Axie, mega boom, I was actually, I think from a founder perspective, we do everything, right? We try to help. How can we make sure that, the system is up? I remember I was reading the Hello Axie Infinity email. People were sending hundreds of emails in there. And some of those emails were like private keys of people, seed phrases in the top of the email. Like that's the level of education of new people that are coming into the ecosystem that we need to teach them, right? I think last time when there was something that was booming, we actually failed in terms of educating them. So a lot of people that came into Axie, they got educated by like the first wave of adopters, and that first wave of adopters, they co-opted the vision that we had for Axie, and maybe they were educating them into something else, right? You can make a shitload of money fast, or whatever they were saying, right? No, that was never really the core vision for Axie. We wanted to make a game that we wanted to play, and we wanted to have an open economy, and then the economy really took off from there. So that's like some of the pros and cons here. The risk is that it can crash, but on the pro side, it can become super big and really become the foundation for something great, which is what we're trying to do here. So yeah, I think that was like a little bit of everything here. Have you seen some like great questions in the chat? Maybe we can take something if there is something. There's a lot of Ronke spam. Believe in something.
Ronke is never
spam.
spamming.
Oh no, yeah, I didn't mean spam actually. I meant like strong support from Ronke. That's right.
There's a couple
what
Q&A questions I can read out here.
Yeah, let's see if there's something on the. Yeah, I mean, let's see. Jeff, before we kind of move into necessary Q&A, is there something that you wanted to touch on? I think we've touched on app tokens, solving play to earn a little bit, maybe Ronin profiles. Maybe you want to chat a little bit about that?
So yeah, another thing that we're exploring and doing some research on right now, right, is basically how do we create some kind of universal reputation system for Ronin, right? Like boom, you have one account, and you're basically getting, right? We've kind of seen this a little bit with Guild XYZ, but that was not really super, that was kind of done by a different team, right? So we're thinking about, right, basically having like a Ronin profile that's like truly integrated, built by us, integrated into the Ronin Wallet. It basically serves as, right, a reputation system. It could amplify your rewards. It can basically help you get whitelists and get special offers from different teams, and more, right? Like, let us know what you think. But yeah, we're also, right, like, this is something that's been really requested by many people in the community, right? It's like, I want a Ronin profile, right? Like, I think one of the really powerful things, right, is the idea of a social graph in crypto, right? So what is a social graph? Like, a social graph is basically a network of people and how they relate to each other via common actions, right? So for example, Instagram, which many of you guys probably have, is like a social graph based on, right, the images that, and now reels that people like. Right. And so basically you relate to people, or you get shown content based on what you've previously liked and expressed interest in. I think that the opportunity in crypto, right, and especially on Ronin, is basically a social graph or a kind of a social network where people get linked to each other and to projects based on what they've done in the past, what transactions they've made, what NFTs they've collected. And right, there's actually so much value in that data that then, right, like, allows developers to know, right, who to target, who to give free stuff to or to give promotions to, or to give whitelists to, for protocols. Oh, we're doing an airdrop campaign, right? Like, oh, these people might have boosted points, right, because they have like really good reputation and they've shown to be really good community members in the past. That's something that's still really lacking on Ronin, but I think shows there's a lot of room for improvement there. And I think from the early Axie days, right, we've always seen what we were building here is kind of like a social network of gamers, right? Like if we can create a social network of gamers and collectors and people that actually know how to use crypto, right, there's a lot of value there. And I believe that does need to be unlocked more. So
Got it. Yeah, I mean, I'm excited about those things too. Or, what I like is, I think what we have to find out, what is the role of the Ronin network ecosystem, right? We want to empower developers. We will be spending even more time around events, doing various hackathons, kind of making sure that a lot of the applications that are coming onto Ronin are created by developers that are loyal to Ronin and that want to create their mark on the Ronin network ecosystem. And that also means that there will be new tokens for those products, and the users of those products maybe will be eligible for token drops as well. So that's how I think about kind of creating a wealth effect on Ronin. So like there is something to say about like when we look at Compound, for example, like why do we need Compound as like one of the core DeFi principles? Why don't we just have like another fork of Compound and we call it something else that's created by a group of Ronin holders? Like there is some key things that need to be created by really blue chip kind of teams, because the risk is so high that if it's deployed by a newer team, it could be very detrimental to the entire growth of the network. So what we try to find out is like, how can we support new developers, go out into these hackathons, share like all of the tools and services that we have with them, so that they know what they're expecting when they're building on Open Ronin. What kind of support can they get from us? So I actually saw a question from Megan BG in the chat here, who's asking like, what kind of support do you provide to games building on Open Ronin? And I think it's a great question. So I want to spend a little bit of time talking about it. But rather than answering it only for games, I want to talk about it from a application perspective in general, right? Of course, like games is our bread and butter. It's what we know the most of. It's like where we revolutionized the space to an extent and kind of made our mark in the world with. So we have a really deep level of understanding of like, or at least a good thesis for what we think will be successful, right? So we have on all internal teams, our games publishing teams that are working like with the partners that we have invested in and that we give grants on. Like that's called like direct publishing. And then we have other teams that are building on Open Ronin, where the biggest thing that we do there is we track them, we give them feedback, or we give them help when it comes to integrating our wallets, our tools, our other services, and then they get like a direct line with us if they have great traction. So here it is. Here's the key, right? It has to be kind of a quid pro quo where the teams that are building on Open Ronin, if they find some traction in the community, that's when we will be like, oh, wait a minute, these guys are building with us. That means that we need to spend even more time uplifting them and like giving them more access to our internal advisory services, even calls with me and Jeff sometimes, and even money as well from an investment perspective. So that's actually what we want to do with other developers as well. And we are doing it too when it comes to giving them grants. For example, Liquid Rom, we had like a grant system for them. So, that was Al who made it. I think he spoke with both me and Jeff beforehand. So we actually gave him a grant so that he was able to audit the protocol before it was going live on Ronin. Super happy about that. I'm a big believer in Liquid Rom. I think we'll see many, many great use cases for Elrond down the line. It's just easier, it's better, it's more liquid, right? I mean, it means that you can spend Ron while having it staked. It unlocks for new opportunities, and that actually adds TVL in these other TVL tracking websites, which is historically been a little bit difficult for us to get like high TVL there, because they only track like DeFi TVL. They don't track TVL for let's say what's in the bridge, for example. So it's a very different thing. So yeah, I think it's a good question. Also had another one. I think it was who was that? His name was starting with S. Sarutobi Tsushinobi. Yeah, he was asking like, can we have Mavis pay live again? It would be helpful. Funny story there is we've been, I was the the person who was trying to push Mavis Pay for like couple of years ago. Unfortunately, it was a little bit too early. We didn't have the capacity to get it over the finish line. Now we have like discussions about Mavis Pay again, where the idea is that people can pay with Roam, and we definitely want to try to see if we can get it done. But there has been challenges there as well. So no promises, but it's really it's really an interesting use case, and I think that providing tools and the opportunity for people who are doing shops around the world to integrate with Ronin in an easy way, I think is going to be really key. Because when we look back in time, and I think this is such a great story always to talk about, is people who onboarded into Axie, they earned SLP tokens and they earn Axie tokens in the Philippines. And in the Philippines, they were certain places they were buying and selling or buying chicken on the street with the Ronin Wallet using SLP tokens. And I think it's just amazing because it's such a precursor to what will happen in the future if we succeed even more, right? Because what is more natural? You have your money inside the Ronin Wallet that you've earned inside the games or been spending in DeFi, and of course the retailers around the world will want access to your money. Like that to me is like a very natural thing, and that's exactly what happened. We didn't do anything there. But we really want to support those kind of use cases as well. So now we've seen what the future looks like. Now we just need to execute even better and get back into the limelight when it comes to traction. And when that happens, I think we're going to see something amazing.
I think I saw one question about some of the traction or success that we've had around DeFi. I'm not sure if we covered that slide. Maybe we can bring that slide up. Ryan, you have with like the basically DeFi traction so far.
One? Probably.
There should be one that says kind of like compound, the new TVL added. Yes. So yeah, I want to give a huge shout out to Owl. Right, Owl really took an idea, right, kind of on a whim, that he picked up for me and Alex, and really ran with it. And he's delivered something that has over $6 million in TVL, and that shows the power of the community, right? Where we cannot do it alone. In fact, if we have to do it alone, it's not going to work. And right, Owl is an amazing example of someone who, right, saw an opportunity, saw a way to help the network, and pounced on it. Also, obviously, right, there's a viable path to a business as well there. So he's done an amazing job. Definitely check out the full story. He wrote it up. It's pinned on his Twitter. But yeah, huge shout out to Owl on Liquid Ron. And I guess, for those that might not be familiar, what is Liquid Ron? Liquid Ron basically is a protocol that allows you to unlock the liquidity in your Ron, right? Because when you stake your Ron, you actually cannot do anything with it, right? Because it's staked there. But actually what Liquid Ron allows you to do is you basically stake your Ron with the Liquid Ron protocol. The Liquid Ron protocol will then give you a Liquid Ron token that represents your position, your staked Ron position. And you can then use that in DeFi. You can use that to basically get a loan in the future, right? You basically have unlocked this liquidity. And so huge shout out to Owl on this. And yeah, I think if you want to go back, right, so we've actually seen Compound, the first big DeFi protocol, migrate to Ronin, and boom, right, we've had over $7 million of TVL added. We've also seen a big migration of liquidity from Katana V2 to the Katana V3. And so people are always. I want to address one thing, right? Like, because some people come to me like, "Oh, Gio, like you guys are in gaming. Why are you guys even focused doing anything with DeFi?" Right? But as Alex mentioned, right, the bigger vision is to use gaming as a way to introduce everyone to crypto. Not just gaming, right? Or not just Web3 gaming, but all of crypto, all of the amazing innovations that are happening. And aside from gaming, the most interesting stuff that's happening in crypto that's actually of real use is happening in DeFi. An amazing story from early in our network is how so many of the early Axie community members from 2020 actually were some of the first users of Uniswap, and everyone basically got right, the Uniswap airdrop, and that was an amazing moment. And actually, when we met the founder of Uniswap, he knew who we were, right? And we were pretty surprised by that. He knew who we were, and he was really like respectful of what we had achieved together. And he remembered how a lot of the early users of Uniswap, right, were Axie players who were using it due to SLP. So always from from even the early days, we've seen, right, like gaming, Web3 gaming is actually, right, the combination of gaming and DeFi, right? So making DeFi attractive on Ronin is actually not really a pivot. It's actually very much within the original vision and what we saw working all the way back from the Axie days. And so, definitely expect more, right? We have Compound, boom, that's one down. Now that we have Compound, right, it's much easier for us to pitch and to onboard some of these larger protocols because they're like, oh, wow, Compound, that's the OG. Boom, right? So, a lot of this stuff, right? You need the social proof first, right? So now we have Compound. It's a big established protocol. Makes it much easier for us to go on and onboard something else. I also say that DeFi kind of shows a lot of the drawbacks of governance or decentralized governance, because like a lot of the stuff, like even if you know the founder, they're like, oh yeah, we need to, I cannot make the decision, right? We need to go through the formal governance process.
Yeah,
So it's kind of
that's it's like anti-startup. It makes me fall
Yeah.
asleep when they have to take it to the committee. The
Yeah.
words like "let's take it to the committee" is like, yeah, you don't want to do that. I mean, you want to do that, but it's still very lame, basically. I saw there were some questions about like Ron future token utility and just like, so I do want to guys, most blockchains, they don't have an identity. The identity of Ronin is gaming first, DeFi, and then every single human being in the world coming into the chain to participate because we actually have a live player base. These other chains, like I think it's hard sometimes to even compare because they don't have the same history, they don't have the same core community as we do, and I think we have to stay true to that belief. And that's kind of really at the core of it. If you truly believe that this has meaning, that you are right in the sense that the people who use the chain, they will be able to attract more developers and then more users, then you should probably still be in the Ronin community. If you still don't believe in that and want to focus on like short-term price action and start to lose faith, that's okay too. But this industry is going to test you no matter which chain, token, investment, whatever it is that you are doing in your life. Like if it was easy, everyone would be doing it, right? This this world is not for the meek, I would say. So if you cannot find that conviction within yourself, then this is probably not the place for you when it comes to crypto in general. Now that is some real talk, and you should probably take it to heart before you go out on Twitter and complain about things that is outside of your control. That's how even I think about stuff here. What is within our control? What can we focus on, right? We focus on builders, we focus on revenue streams, we focus on users, how many people are actually playing the games, and of course game developers. I think the Ronin use cases are clear to me as well. Like Ronin is being used as gas, which is the ultimate use case for all chains. And if you think that Ronin will scale beyond this because we will get more users in the future, these games will create their own Ronin layer 2s, which then requires more locked up RON, then yes, that does make sense. Now, for every single RON transaction that is being put into the blockchain, there's some that's being burned, which is another clear use case. and Ronin actually has clear revenue streams coming into the Ronin protocol treasury, both from the Mavis market and from OpenSea and from the Ronin name service and from Katana Wallet, right? Now it just depends, like, what are we going to do with those revenue streams? And we are actively working on being able to utilize those revenue streams to the benefit of all Ronin holders. There are things that are holding us back that is outside of our control. So I'm not too focused on necessarily complaining about that, but I just wanted to share with you that things are happening in the back. But it's not like we can just snap our fingers and solve some of these like hard regulatory things. These are real, big boy problems, I would say. That's kind of beyond our control as well. So yeah, that's some kind of like real talk from me. And I think you should take it to heart before, if you feel like things are tough, right? Going out, taking a walk, like the longer you are in crypto, the harder things might seem sometimes too, because some people have been round tripping, they've made a lot of money, they've lost a lot of money, but you just have to stick it out, man. If you can't hold, just to quote ZZ, if you can't hold, you're never going to make it, right? That's just the truth of things.
Yeah, I mean, one thing that I want to say, right, is like it's really hard, right? It's hard for us too, right? Like obviously when price goes up a lot and then goes down a lot, like we feel it, right? Like that's, SkyMavis, right? Like the way that we succeed is by having, right, the tokens that we own alongside you guys, AXS and Run, go up in value a lot, right? Otherwise, right, like there's really no viable path to us becoming, right, what we believe that we can do. And so, times like this are really hard, right? But what has happened? What I would ask is like, what has happened every single time we've had our backs against the wall? Every time it's felt like, oh, this is finally over, right? Oh, they finally are done, right? Always, right? This community has withstood and come back from the brink of death, right? So to me, right, it's like, it's just like the GTA meme, right? Like, oh, here we go again, like. Boom, everyone, right? The haters are back. People are doubting, right? Like, your friends and family are laughing at you, right? My mom is worried about me. My mom just asked me if she needs to send me money. Or right, like because she knows what the price of AXS and RON is, right? So she looks at that and she's always right, like, so even for us, right? Like our parents will be concerned. Or even mad, right? Maybe our family members bought Ron because we were shilling it to them, right? So we're obviously going through this with you guys, and it is painful, and hopefully, right? This is why, right? Like you have to, hopefully, right? Like not use leverage, right? Like don't put money into crypto that you need to basically survive for basic essentials. But yeah, I also, right? Like just want to, right, say that this type of situation is really hard. It's not just hard for you guys, hard for us, obviously, right? Like you don't really get to see that all the time, but this is more of the type of venue where I feel like it's appropriate to share that type of information. So
Yeah, let's cry together, says Moa in the chat. I don't think we have to cry together, but we at least have to be able to share in the misery a little bit. I'm laughing about it too, because like what else can we do, right? It does make sense to me when I look at all the traction, right? And I'm like, wait a minute, like why are these shit coins pumping, right? What I think then is, all right, what does Ivan on crypto say, right? You have to respect the pump, right? I mean, do we believe in karma, right? Maybe we do, right? So if you are going out and putting out negative energy into the world, being like some toxic person, you're never going to make it. I really believe that. Don't be that freaking person. And I can say that because I have a salty streak myself. But you really have to control that. And yeah, just, don't project that thing, because you're going to end up like, drawing in more of those feelings and things into your life, right? So maybe that's a good place to stop it, to hold on the town hall. I think we covered a lot here. It was good to be able to see so many active people in the chat, seeing people on Twitter, and I think it's amazing to travel around the world sometimes and meet you guys in real life. Never hesitate to come up and say hi to me or Jeff or even Trung or anyone else in the Ronin team. Like we always want to hear from you guys, what's happening. what you guys are building, what you guys are happy about. Maybe skip on the salty side sometimes. That's we see that a lot. There's actually been light on the death threats this time around compared to the last time, I think, Jeff. Like you had a lot of those, but this time so far we've been able to avoid that, so that's great. But definitely there is a lot of there's a nasty side to crypto as well that I hope we can leave at home, and that we can focus on the more of the positive things that are here. So I do want to give a shout out to everyone who's still positive, who's remaining here, who's building with us, and who can see that this is something real that's happening here. So yeah, that's it from me. Any final words from you, Jeff and Ryan?
Yeah, maybe so just want to leave with some kind of final thoughts on how where do I see the path to victory, right? I see many different paths to victory, right? It's kind of like Dune, but I do see, right, solving play to earn with better incentive alignment and token models, right? Whether that be app tokens or just general experimentation. Someone rightly pointed out, oh, like why do we need that complicated system when when Pixel Heroes Adventure has already implemented something like boom. Well, it's possible that ERC20C might not be the full answer. It might be the teams building that kind of stuff a little bit more manually on their own. So fixing play to earn and figuring out the incentive model. Right, I'm super bullish on MMOs. Right, we're seeing Cambria, but we also have things like Lumitera. Runiverse is doing amazing things. I believe that like Pixels has kind of retraced a lot and now basically has a lot of the expectations removed off their shoulders, right? So now I believe that they're in a place where they could potentially do something really interesting, especially because they're going to be one of the first to start experimenting with ERC20C or app tokens. And so I believe that the Ronin MMO thesis, right? Games like Fableborn, right? Fableborn is a game that, boom, it actually plays like a game that I could introduce to my friends and family. But the Maria actually worked on RuneScape marketplace, and the team really understands Web3, right? So don't sleep on Fableborn. They've been a little bit quiet in between seasons, but definitely keep an eye out for Fableborn. And then boom, of course, I also see, right? Most founders might not talk about this kind of stuff, right? The macro, oh, we're just like leaves blowing in the wind or whatever, right? The macro will be the macro. But to me, I do see, right, like the market being able to improve a lot, especially when it comes to liquidity and the riskiest assets within crypto. Before I did this, I actually ran a fund, right? I ran a global macro fund, right? That basically predicted what's going to happen in the global economy, and we made money from it. It actually did well. And the thing that I see right now is we have a lot of different catalysts that can really help out crypto. We have tax cuts in the U.S. that will likely be implemented before the end of the year. We have interest rate cuts. Right now, interest rates are the highest and most restrictive that they've ever been in my entire adult life. And they can really only come down from here. So I see interest rates being cut. I see taxes being cut. All this year, all with relatively recent or all near-term results. I also see that crypto is starting to decouple a little bit from stocks. And one thing that I see on my LinkedIn and when I go out is, although the people in crypto have lost a lot of money recently, the true whales of the world are now interested in actually entering the market. They're like, okay, right, like we were pretty excited about crypto when Trump won, but we didn't want to buy that huge rally because that seemed like too much hype. This is how real investors that have billions of dollars think, right? I'm not going to deploy when there's a lot of hype, right? I'm going to wait for the first pullback. And then boom, now these billion-dollar investors that are interested in crypto are now, finally see their chance to start to deploy and start to be educated. And a lot of these investors, will want to have they'll want to have some narrative around why their crypto strategy is enlightened. Right, so they won't want to just buy Bitcoin or ETH or Solana, right? They'll want to be, they have some angle, right? And gaming is an interesting kind of diversification tool. So actually, we were just, I believe, added to a major exchange. Maybe like Alex can confirm if that's okay, but we're just added to a major exchange that now basically will allow institutional investors to hold RON on that exchange.
Yeah, that's It's actually pretty interesting. I won't share it now because we need to verify it fully. Actually,
Okay.
we did get some positive news there. So I think that's great. Obviously, like working with different institutions to see if they will be holding Rome in the future, I think is going to be key for us. Something that I'm focusing on as well. So with different roles in the company as well. So yeah, working with investors is always key. Make sure that they can see, hear about Ronin, about like what we're doing here. So I guess I'll leave it at that.
For sure. Okay. Yeah. So I see the path to victory, right? Through the MMOs, through the macro climate increasing, and also through, right, like solving the play to earn model. And so with that, right, I'll leave it at that. But it's I'm also sending strength to you guys. It's been a difficult time for me, right? Like I was kind of feeling like, I don't know, maybe you guys could tell I wasn't really feeling like my full Jiho self. But then I basically looked at things, right? Am I gonna be sad, angry, confused, right? Or am I gonna be happy, energetic, and have positive energy? If I have that energy, that's gonna spread to, right, everyone else, and that's actually gonna be the only way to help catalyze, right, a turnaround with our backs against the wall once again. So yeah, we've been here again before. You guys all know what has happened every single time that it seemed like, oh, it might be over, right? Something bad is happening, or is this not fully working, right? Every single time we've been able to come back from that, and I don't believe that this time is any different. Why would I? We've been here for 7 years.
Guys, we've been through harder times than this too. I'm not sure if you remember the hack, guys, but one morning I woke up, we're down 600 million. Like, come on. This is nothing compared to that. So freaking stay the course. That's it. Okay. I guess I'm gonna peace out now. All right. Thanks, guys.
Alrighty. Yo, I want to say thank you to everyone who has been joining us through the Discord and also on Twitter. Everyone who has kept the chat alive, repping Ronky till the very end. And of course, I want to thank G-Hose and Psych Out. This is my first town hall with Psych Out, and they bounce off each other so damn well. I feel like my job has been done for me. I basically didn't have to do anything until the very beginning to the very end. But G-Hose, I know you were feeling tired, but I didn't feel it at all. I think you guys have both been phenomenal, such a wealth of information. So thank you both. And yeah, we'll see you all in the next one. Let's shut this thing down.
All right, thanks, Ryan.
Bye.
Peace.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, that was pretty good. That was pretty nice. That was kind of like a recap of everything that is happening in the Ronin network. It's good to see the founders. I think for people that are, for people that are new to crypto, for people that maybe this is their second cycle and maybe they came in the middle of the of last cycle, they never been through this process. This is like where you really learn how to hold your tokens, how to go through adversity. Because the thing is that the people that came in the other cycle, they came halfway, right? They made a lot of money and maybe they lost a lot of money, or maybe they came out with a lot of money. Most people lost a lot of money, right? So for a lot of people, this is like the full scale cycle, their first full scale cycle, from bear market to mid market to bull market to probably bear market again. So a lot of people don't even know how to feel in this process. I'm pretty chill about this, to be honest. None of this really affects me in any way anymore. Once you have been through a few cycles, you kind of know what you're holding. You kind of know how to feel or not feel about things. You kind of just keep going. So for a lot of people, they're still learning that. Back in the day in 2017, I used to check my phone all the time. It was a constant. I had like my portfolio in my phone. I would constantly check the price of Bitcoin, price of Ethereum, all the ICOs that I invested in. I would constantly check the price. Right now, bro, I don't even look at the price a lot of the times. I don't even look at crypto. I didn't even know Bitcoin was pumping until like I think it was like yesterday night. I was like, what the hell? This shit is pumping. So yeah, like, you know, it just takes time for people to get used to all this ups and downs. And if you know you're holding something like a Ronin, like the Ron token, and you see all the fundamentals, I mean, this shouldn't affect you, but I can see how it affects people emotionally. It's not an easy, but that's when you really become a good investor or degen, when none of these things kind of like affect you. On one side is a good thing, and I would say for the most part is a good thing. But also you gotta be careful with not caring about price, right? You also gotta be careful, because when you become too much of a degen and you don't care about price and you don't care about how the market fluctuates, you also lose track of your strategy, of your exit strategy. You can lose track of that too. So that happens to a lot of degens actually. They're so degenerate. They care so little about price. They forget about what price, if they forget about price mattering at all. And then all of a sudden you're in a bear market, you're like, holy shit, I didn't even take profits. I was just like, you know, on automatic mode. So you gotta be careful with that too. Anyways, it was a good recap of what's going on in Ronin, and good to see the founders' faces. Yeah. All right, ladies and gentlemen, let's jump into some gaming. Let's play some games. The first game we're gonna play is this one right here. There's an ARPG on the Ronin network. Pretty good ARPG. They do have a new hunt and mint, and I don't really know how it works. I'm gonna tell you guys the truth. I don't know how it works, but they do have some play to earn aspect to it right now, and I'm not sure how it works. I'm still kind of like, what's happening? I think you earn some points, but yeah, I'm not really sure. Oh, right here, hunt and mint. Chicken hunt. Chickens. Okay, what is this? Chickens from all over the kingdom have gone on the run. This is something we simply cannot allow. This is like a quest. We must prevent them from spreading even further. That would be catastrophic for everybody. Venture into the dungeon and eliminate as many of them as possible. Don't worry about retaliation. This ain't Zelda. Okay. So right here we get some NFTs. All right. I'm still kind of learning what this event is all about. I don't think the event is that clear, or maybe it is and I haven't read. But anyways, how do you guys feel about that? How do you guys feel about our town hall? What's your thoughts on the town hall? Chuck, what do you think about the town hall? I'm pretty sure Chuck feels the same way, right? I'm pretty sure you feel the same way. You're like, you know, you've been through this, you know, like, you know, I'm sure like if your portfolio goes down 50%, you're not like too worried when it comes to Ronin, at least. Maybe for other tokens, yeah, but yeah, exactly. I don't check charts too much either. You know, from time to time I check it and whatever, but I check it more to troll. Like, you know, I do that more to troll because I feel like the best way to kind of forget about, yeah, the best way to forget about the market going down is by trolling. So I do that a lot. Let me see if I can show you guys. If you follow me on Twitter, you'll see that I do that quite often actually. Let's see. Yeah, I just tweeted recently and I said I do this a lot. I was like, prediction reach. I'm the GOAT 200 round, $200 round. Like there's like I don't know what else to say. While everybody's like complaining, like, oh, why is running down? I'm like, well, there's not really much we can do, right? So I guess throw a little bit. And if you take things a little bit more light, like it doesn't matter. Of course it matters to me if my portfolio is down, but that's just the best way to kind of cope with it, you know. I always tell people, don't quit your day job so you can pay your bills and have extra money to invest more during downtimes. Yeah, I mean, if I had a day job, dude, like back then, I wouldn't have the same amount of knowledge that I have now. That's for sure. So there's a trade-off there, right? Because I spent a lot of time on the blockchain, just kind of like testing new things and new chains and new games and new protocols and all that crap. But if I had the knowledge that I have now with a day job, oh man, I would literally close crypto, never look at it again for like 1 year, and just put Coinbase or Binance on auto buy every single week or every single month and forget it. I would check it like every 6 months or something like that. But my whole career right now is in crypto, so it's kind of inevitable sometimes to check it. Sir, please have a look at Eternum. It's fully on-chain civilization game suited for 10K players. Where's that game? What chain is it on? It's on Starknet, not possible on EVM. Oh yeah, I know. I think I tested that one. Isn't that like an RPG? Yeah, I'm definitely not going into Starknet. I didn't like how they treated me with my airdrop. I didn't get shit on Starknet. Yeah, I would bring that game to Ronin, to be honest. Just bring your game to Ronin. Or make a game on Ronin. Why don't you make a game on Ronin? No, I understand, man. Like, but we don't, you know, we're tired of going into different chains, you know. Like, the community's tired, man. We're tired of this shit. Why is it not possible on Ronin? We made an entity component system there. What does that mean? What does an entity component system mean? Like the logic? Like a logic or something like that? On-chain logic? Like the whole game on-chain? Like actual movements and shit? Interesting. Yeah, I know. I feel you, man. Look, here's what I suggest. I know you guys. I know Loot Survivor. I know you guys are legit. I would suggest make a simple on-chain game on Ronin now that it's open. There's literally no competition for on-chain game. There's only one on-chain game on Ronin, and they recently got hacked right away. Basically, they're relaunching it because it was a mistake. It was a noob mistake, but it was really smooth. It was really smooth. It was called Valhalla Legacy, and they're relaunching now. But bro, like, you know, this is simple. It's not really on chain like yours. It's not really on chain like yours, but you can bring something on chain here. You know, you send your characters on adventures. You know, like in an RPG, basically. You send your characters on an adventure. You get tokens. You get You also get you get loot, and then you send your characters again on adventures. And then you also have PvP. Once you gear up your character from PvE, then you go against other players in PvP. And I think you can make something here. There's no competition, man. Like, and then once your product is successful in Ronin, then you can like teach people about your other products in different chains. I think you can use that as a carrot to show people that you guys have other products in different chains. And I don't think it's gonna affect you to have multiple products in different chains. You're basically shooting many shots to see which one is gonna be, and that's kind of the problem. A lot of the problems with on-chain devs, they're idealistic. They're very the on-chain community feels like you are in 2017 or like 2015 crypto. That's how it feels. All these devs have these ideals, like this perfect world of what chain should be used and why this one doesn't work and blah blah blah. It's like, remember that fight between like centralized versus decentralized? Nobody fucking cares anymore whether a chain is centralized or decentralized. People care to a certain extent, but not that much. But it used to be like that from 2017 until like early 2020 or 2021. The whole fight was like, my chain does this amount of transaction and is more decentralized than yours and blah 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 and all this garbage. So that's the problem I see with on-chain communities. They're too idealistic. Like, oh wait, you didn't see what I was showing. Okay, this is what I was showing. Sorry, man. Wait, let me show you. So there's this on-chain game on Ronin. It's called Valhalla Legacy, right? You take your characters, you send them on adventures. Boom, 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 boom. I'm just scrolling through this video quickly, but I'm pretty sure you're gonna understand this. Boom, 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 boom. They come back with loot, and then you can use your characters on PvP once you equip them from all your PvE adventures, right? So yeah, let me read the chat. I went on a rant there real quick. We're going directly for the game. It's really novel game, and the UX is almost as good as Web 2. Every chain optimized their execution layer for buy, sell, transfer. You can't do complex dApps there. How did you come up with the stupid way of giving away Ronin to people who weren't even involved in that project? You were supposed to use it for promotion. Motherfucker, that 1% is mine. That 1% is mine. I gave away for promotion because I wanted to. Okay? Ronin is a Ponzi game. Okay? Don't come to my chat telling me what I have to do or not to do. Okay? If you're mad about a $5 NFT, not $5. If you're mad about a 5 RON NFT, 5 RON, that's what they sold it for. And if you're mad about some game that sold an NFT for 5 RON and it's not working out as intended because Ronin simply doesn't have enough liquidity to pump these Ponzi's, right? Like other chains. Once you understand that, right? But we still have to test things in Ronin. We have to test different things. Same thing happens with meme coins in Ronin. There's not enough liquidity for this meme coins to go on a mega run, right? So like whatever, bro. Like it didn't matter if I airdropped or not airdropped. None of that mattered. That was gonna go to zero anyway. Everything was going well until you go away running to people who weren't even in the project. What part don't you understand that Ronin is mine? What part of it don't you understand? I do what I want with that Ronin. That is my payment. I'm the one that put Ronin in the map. I'm the one that showed Ronin to the people. Thank you for participating. There's no chain that is built to handle actual complex data, but you're right in that way. It would definitely be good marketing. Yeah, I think you should do that, man. Sorry, I had to like respond to this clown in the chat. No, I didn't nuke it. I literally spread half of my tokens to the community, right? Like I said I would, to my NFT holders, to Ronke NFTs, because Ronke has been out here supporting every game and everything on Ronin. So I gave them. I gave Moki. I gave my subscribers. I gave to a bunch of people. And then I took some profits too. So, you know, like I'm not supposed to take profit. Kagi is only supposed to work and not take profits. This is how these people think. Kagi is supposed to work and not take profits. Kagi can only give us alpha, and Kagi cannot sell, cannot do anything. It's ridiculous, bro. It's ridiculous. I'm only supposed to give alpha and never sell, never take any profit. I literally have, for example, in Ronke, I have 70 million Ronke. I saw my bag go to $120,000 to now to 15,000. And who took profits? All the fucking rice farmers took profits. But Kagi can't take profits. No, forget it. That's forbidden. Kagi cannot take profits. Only we can take profits. Only we can take profits to buy fucking rice. Because we can't hold shit. Fuck that shit, man. I'm so fucking tired of that. It's always Kagi cannot take profits. Kagi can only talk bullish things, but he cannot take profits. It's fucking annoying. You know? It's fucking annoying as fuck. I'm literally trying to explore different things on Ronin. If not, if you can't explore different things, then all you have to do is follow Ronin Network. That's it. If you guys want to be safe with your investments, safe, right? It's not 100% safe, but the safest thing to do is to not get involved in anything that the Ronin team doesn't talk about. The network is open now, right? If you guys want to be safe, and I said this before, I said this today, if you guys want to be 100% safe, or not 100%, but the closest to something safe, I said it here, I tweeted about it. You know, I said the Ronin community is learning how to be part of different types of projects. Just a few months ago, we didn't have the ability to participate in Ponzi games, deeper DeFi, meme coins, but now we do. So a lot of people are complaining, oh, we want meme coins, we want Ponzi's, we want this. And when you give them what they want and they lose money, it's like, oh, but wait, we gotta find somebody to blame. Oh, wait, we gotta find somebody to blame. It's so annoying, bro. Like, you know, take responsibility. Like, and it's not like the Ronin meme coin sold the miners for like 50 RON or 100 RON. They sold it for 5 RON. 5 RON, that's $2.50. And then in public, it was 10 RON. That's $5. Like, what are you complaining about? You know, like, what are you complaining about? Like, bro, like, we're testing new shit here, you know? Yeah, exactly. Some people took profits, some didn't. You know? It's so annoying, bro. It's so annoying to hear this constant complaining. If you guys want to stay safe, Just literally go to, you know, go to Ronin, go to Ronin, go to Ronin chain, you know, and look at the features games and just stick to that. Don't do anything else. Just stick to this. Like I'm generally telling you this. I'm generally telling people stick to this. And even this is not going to be 100% safe, right? But, you know, these are curated games and curated dApps by Ronin. Anything else outside of the Ronin curation team, you know, and some of them are not going to work out. Like the Machines Arena, not a lot of people are playing that. Wild Forest hasn't done very well, and it's a good game. You know, like there's things. Pixels did really good in 2024. They're still building, of course, but like the token went down. Like bro, like this is part of the game. Part of the game is trying to like figure out, you know, what's gonna work, what's not gonna work. You know, get a little bit of luck. You know, like I'm just so tired of people complaining. Like, you know. And they're probably losing what, like, you know, and I don't want to say that it doesn't matter, but like some people complaining about $50 or like $30. Oh, I lost $30. Oh, so fucking what? $30. What's gonna happen with $30? What are you gonna do? It wasn't gonna change your life. $30, right? Like, why are you complaining about $30 or $10 or even $100? You know, if you tell me, fuck, I lost $50,000 in the Ronin mining game. Number one, you're stupid if you lose 50,000. And number two, if you were to lose 50,000, then maybe I'll have a little bit more sympathy for you. Like, you know what? Hey, damn, this person lost 50,000. Holy shit, bro. You know, that sucks for him, right? That really sucks. But most of the people are like losing $20, $30, $50, $100. That's not life-changing money. Like, what are you complaining about? Like, and I know a lot of people do come from like lower income backgrounds. I get it. But I promise you $100 is not going to change your life. If you complain about $100, you will never make it. You know how much money I lost before I made it? Or like made a lot of money? I lost so much money. In my first bull run, I lost $800,000. Like people are so, you know, they're like complaining about fucking like $50, $100, you know? You know, my hard-earned money, $800,000 in my first bull run, investing in ICOs. You know what I did? I had to go back to Uber. I had to go back to fucking working at a supermarket in 2017. Like, what are people fucking complaining about? I'm so tired of this shit. I'm really tired of this mentality in Ronin. The Ronin people, like the Ronin community, needs to fucking learn quick, or they're gonna be left behind. You know, they need to learn quick how to get over shit. You know. You lost $20, $50, $100. So fucking what, man? Maybe next time don't put $100. Maybe just put $5. Okay, I'm done with my rant. I guess this is the repercussions of a closed network. Well, it's not closed anymore. It's open now, right? So, but anyways, Joe, Lord, I really want you. I think you should build an on-chain game on Ronin, a simple one, an RPG, a simple RPG. Use it to as a marketing strategy to showcase all of your other games. You know, make a way for people to funnel. Make a way for people to funnel from Ronin and get to know your other products. But I think you would kill it in Ronin. You don't have any competition. Really. The only competition you have is Valhalla. That's the only on-chain game right now. Valhalla Reborn, which is coming, is they're gonna relaunch right here. This one. It's like I told you, you send your characters, RPG, boom, boom, boom. They come back with loot and then whatever. Wait, is this actual PvP? Oh, PvP is actually, oh shit, you can, oh my god, I didn't know that. So basically you go on chain That's fucking cool. That's fucking cool that the PvE is on chain, and then the PvP you actually have to go and. But anyways, bro, this is your only competition. You know how to build on-chain games, you know. I feel like you can compete here in Ronin. People are the only two games. There's only two on-chain games. It's this one, and then the other one is, let me see. Is Cyberkong's Cyberkong's on-chain, which is very similar on-chain. Play and collect on-chain. On-chain, yeah. This one's the same thing. You take your Cyberkongs, you send them on adventures. Then you can equip the armors, blah blah blah, etc. etc. So yeah, there's only two on-chain games, and you know people want an on-chain game, bro. I'm telling you, this is your opportunity. We have a bunch of gamers in Ronin. I will help you, of course. Not for free 100%, you know, whatever it is, free mints, whitelist, a portion of your tokens. I will help you. I'm telling you right here, live. I'm telling you that I would essentially take payment in whitelist, free mints, and tokens. Bam. Business right here, live, so people can know. Fully transparent. I'm always fully transparent. Only fully transparent. Don't care. I get it, Lord. I get it. I understand you, bro. But it's what I told you. It's basically what I told you. You guys are too idealistic. You know what I mean? You guys are too idealistic. I get it. Oh, only outside of EVM. I get it. I understand. Use the tech that you have to use. But sometimes, and you know this, as a dev, you should know this, that sometimes the best tech doesn't even win. You know, the best tech, the most beautiful tech, the best infrastructure, the fastest, the everything, you know, it doesn't even win. Because at the end of the day, people are here rallying behind communities. At the end of the day, people rally behind communities, and there's a reason behind this, you know. There's a reason, and I feel like a lot of devs miss this, right? There's a reason Dogecoin is a top 10 coin. There's a reason why XRP, nobody uses this shit, and it's literally a top 5 coin. Actually, it's top 3 because Tether doesn't count. Like, how is XRP the number 3 coin in the world? How? It's community. Do they care about the tech? Do they care about this shit? No, they don't. They don't care about this shit, right? Same thing with Cardano. Same thing with Tron. Although Tron is used for a lot of stable coins, but bro, like let's be honest, you know. Let's be honest. You got Chiva, top 20 coin. You know, people go where the hype is at, where the community is at. So if you want to build a game, or you want to bring attention to your community, I'm not saying that you're not gonna be successful in the other ones. With the Ethereum Foundation retweeting you, like, of course that's bullish. But what I'm trying to say is that also you gotta take some other shots on goal. And I think Ronin is a good place for you to, you know, to do a little test, do a little on-chain game, No, I know. I use Starknet. I have used Starknet. I have used many chains. You know, like another chains that people fade is this one right here. What's it called? Multiverse X. This one right here. This wallet right here. This one's pretty good. What is it? I think it's called eGold. That shit is fast as fuck. You know, I don't know if it's good for multi. I don't know from a tech side because I'm not a dev, so I don't know if the infrastructure is good for on-chain games. But when I have used it, this shit is like good. you know, but nobody's gaming there, you know. So you gotta go where the users are at. So my suggestion, again, build something for Ronin, follow people from a game that you build on Ronin, use it as a carrot, right? And then teach people how to use the other, because a lot of the users in Ronin that you have to understand is that these users are not very well educated in multi-chains. So for you to tell a Ronin user, go use Starknet, that's a fucking mountain to climb. They don't want to do that. They don't want to. They don't want to do that. Most of them don't want to. You know, they don't even want to like download another wallet, you know, like get to know the other chain, like how does this work? You know, like they just don't want to. They don't want to bridge. A lot of people also only have like a couple $100, you know, they might have like $200, $300, $400, $500, maybe $1,000, you know, bridging from one side to the other one. Like they're like, nah, I don't want to do that, you know. So you also got to think about that, the archetype of you know, of players, you know, like how they behave, you know. We're not in 2017 where everybody was testing new shit. You know, I even tested Neo in 2017, you know, like you got to make it super easy for them. Like, I don't know. You'll be able to play with your MetaMask or Phantom Wallet without bridging. Sessions key, account abstraction, and recursive scaling. I don't know what recursive scaling is, but we do have account abstraction. I mean, you can log in into Ronin Wallet if that's what you mean. Yeah, you can log into Ronin Wallet with email. Like you can make an email, like an email wallet, basically. Yeah. So it's called Running Waypoint. Right here. Where is it? Running Wallet. Wait, I don't want to show that. Explore ecosystem. Let me see. Do they have Waypoint here? Running. Well, yeah. Let me see. I'll tell you right now. Wait. Valhalla. Let me see. But if it's EVM compatible, you can just Valhalla Legacy. Boom. Oh wait, no. Valhalla. They renamed it Valhalla Reborn. So right here, you can sign in with Waypoint. And this is like, yeah, with email. You see? Wait, you can't see this. Give me a second. You see, you can sign in with email here. So if you have an email wallet, you can just Google. Ronin was, just so you understand, Ronin was the first wallet to have account abstraction, by the way, just so you know. This is something that they never bragged about because it was such a simple tech. You see all this chains bragging about, oh, our shit is a account abstraction. Ronin has had an account abstraction for like 3 years now. Like, it's been a long time that you could like make a email wallet with Ronin. They never bragged about it. But you had like chains like IMX. Oh, we have account abstraction, the future. It's like, bro, what the fuck? What are you talking about? What are you talking about? I'm not saying Ronin is perfect, but you know, like, and this wallet has been downloaded 18 million times. 18 million. and 6 million times on mobile. That's a lot, man. It's a lot of gamers here. Yeah, exactly. Axie has an on-chain game, like basically. Yeah, look, I'll show you our kind of abstraction on Axie. Check this out. So I'm gonna show you how it works. So I'm gonna log in, right? Let me go to marketplace. I'm gonna log in right here. Let me log out. Boom. So you log in right here. You can log in with your email. With your email wallet. Let me see if I can show you this here. Yeah. I don't want to show it, but yeah. Basically, you can log in with Waypoint here. Boom. So pretty easy. Boom. I don't want to show my email, but basically you would go, for example, this is an on-chain thing that you do every single day. You basically pray to Atya's blessing, and then you go right here, go to the Garuda shop, you gamble your blessings, boom. To get items. Boom. Once you do that, you can go to your inventory, go to your Axie, and feed them. Let me see. Do I have the ability to feed it? Let me see. I can feed it here. Use consumables. Do I have consumables? Oh, I don't have consumables. No, I don't have consumables yet. But essentially, you can feed your Axie. You can upgrade your Axie, make it look cooler, right? You can ascend it, change the looks on chain, and the NFT kind of obviously, you know, looks different over time as you ascend your Axie. It's called Axie Ascension. Bam. But I still don't have enough XP for this one to ascend it. But yeah, yeah, a lot of people do this on Axie. Like this is what I do on Axie. I just like get XP, feed it, and then upgrade my Axies, and they become more valuable over time. And then this is you're gonna be able to use this in the MMO. So yeah, I don't know. I think Ronin has pretty good tech. Pretty decent. But Lord is saying is true though. You know what Lord is saying is putting the whole logic, on chain, right? Like every single movement, every single, and the whole engine on chain, which has been the dream of a lot of developers, right? I don't know if that's like an actual thing. So you're saying like you have an engine. Let's see. Let's check your game. I'll check your game. Let's see. What's it called? What's your game called, Lord, right now? What's your game called? Tell me. Eternum. Eternum. Realms of Eternum. Oh, I've been following this for a while. Nah, I don't want to log in with my email. What is this? Bro, why don't you put login with wallets? Nah, bro, like this is some crazy work. Save to iPhone, iPad, or Android, security key. Dude, you gotta find another way. No, yeah, I'm not saving anything. Like I wanna try, but I don't wanna I don't wanna save anything, bro. Like let me log in with my wallet, bro. Or like Google or something. I don't fucking know. But this is some crazy work right here, bro. I don't even know what this means. Save this passkey on my iPhone. I never saved anything on my iPhone or Android. Fuck it. Scan this to save passkey. Okay, sure. Did I leak my passkey? Oh shit. Yo, if I get hacked, I swear to God. This is a nightmare. This is a nightmare for streamers, bro. No, bro. Change the login. Change the login. Change the login. Change the login. Like, change the login, bro. When you change the login, I'll try. I promise. I promise I'll try. But you also have to build. You have to build an on-chain game on Ronin. Just build an on-chain game on Ronin, bro. What are you doing, man? Come on, bro. Like you can literally put a Ronin game right here. It doesn't affect you, bro. You guys have a bunch of games. It doesn't affect you. Put a Ronin game. Play as a guest. I think this one is even like, wait, Kagi. Oh my fucking God, man. This is cleaner than it was before. I'll give you that. It's much cleaner, but I don't even know what that means, bro. Like, why do I have to save a passkey? I just want to connect with a wallet. Look, you could literally do a running game right here. Put it right here. Bam. And when we hit play, we log in with our running waypoint. Think about it. You can build an on-chain game like in a week, bro. Come on. Build an on-chain game for us Ronin players, and then we can explore your other games. I gotta try this off camera though. I gotta try this off camera. So, guys, this is how we onboard new devs. New devs on Ronin, or we don't play. How did I get it? I bought it. I have all the mounts. Yeah, this is I think this is a rare, like, or legendary, whatever they call it. Look. I have this one too. So I'm gonna gather here. This is what I'm gonna do today. I'm just gonna gather. I'm just gonna gather resources. I'm not even gonna fight today. Chuck, you have your... You have a village, right? Or a town? You have a village or a town? What is it that you have? I need to take a massive piss right now. Wait. Let me write it down here. Taking a piss. BRB. Okay, I'm back. I did get some more coffee. All right. All right. Yes, friction Manitoba, right? I'm trying to level up all my spells. All 4 mage workshops are available. Okay, nice. Yeah, I also have all my 4 mage too. I have 4 mage. Let me see. This is all mine right now. Wait, I can show you in it. Maybe I don't know if you've seen it. Maybe you have, maybe you haven't. Let me see. Our guild has right now. Our guild has all the mages we have. Let's see, official lands. This is what we currently have. We have all the forges, all the mages in one spot. This was really hard to achieve. This was so hard to get. I made so many deals behind the scenes. That's why I wasn't streaming for like 2 weeks, bro. Because I didn't want to like tell anybody about it. So I was just like, boom. So we have that. We also have the temples. We only have 2 temples right now. I have to put the other temples. I think right now we have, let me see. What do we have? We have the green mana temple and we have the red temple. And then we also have a village. But the village, we're not gonna use it yet until we have until we can build a guild hall. So you need to build a guild hall to be able to have a guild bank and all that good stuff. So I'm only gonna use it for the guild hall because I think you can only put like 4 buildings and a guild hall takes like 2 buildings. So I'm only gonna be able to put the guild hall and a teleport here. So yeah. And we have more lands, but we haven't developed it yet. So stay tuned. Stay tuned. We don't have a village right now. Like, I have it. I have the village. I just haven't developed it. What I did in this area, you cannot achieve it in a village. That's a problem with the village. It just doesn't have enough space. Damn, people are farming this hard here. Yeah, if you're gonna have a guild, it doesn't really matter your location, right? If you're gonna really have a guild, like your location shouldn't matter because people are gonna go there. Like for example, a guild that is doing really well right now is Binary Assets. His guild is doing really well because, you know, what is it? Baobabs. I think it's the Baobabs. Let me see. I'll tell you right now. The Baobabs. Wait, let me see. Binary. I think it's yeah, binary. Binary Assets did the same, but he has a town. Right? You see? He has a town. So in a town, you can build way more things. But even with a town, he had to buy stuff outside. As you can see here. He had to buy stuff outside as well. But a town does give you the ability to do what I did. But it's way more expensive. So I'm doing exactly or more than, let me see, he has 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. He has everything. But a town can cost you $30,000. I achieved this, the same thing that he got. I achieved it for cheaper. Right? Because I bought each land for like, 400, 500, 300, 600. Right? So I bought all these lands and I achieved it for like, 1/3 of the price of a town. And I don't have to build a portal. And it's free to teleport. As of right now. So just higher IQ, man. Yeah, I mean, look, if you're gonna build a guild, Chuck. Well, it doesn't really matter. The way that people teleport in my guild is like, here's the way that people teleport. So all they gotta do is go to Yellow Haven right here. Boom. Go to Yellow Haven. It's gonna cost them 0. Then they're gonna search for the district, and that basically that entire district is mine. So it doesn't really matter. All they gotta do is look at our map, and because remember you're providing for your guild. In the future, you want you will probably lock these things for your guild. Maybe, most likely, you will lock your lands to your guild. And the reason you will lock your lands is the same reason we lock lands on pixels, right? It's because if your guild has, let's say they come out with new content, right? They come out with new content, and then your guild has a crazy recipe that nobody else can build, right? You don't want to allow other people to build that recipe. You don't want other people to get that recipe. So what you want to do is lock down your forge or your mage, right? You want to get those recipes and mint it out yourself on the Ronin marketplace. So you're the only provider of that recipe, or one of the only few providers of that recipe, to the community, until somebody else gets the recipe, right? So it's gonna be like a recipe war, kind of, and sometimes you might have some resources that some people need, and you might lock it down, bro. Like, for example, we have right here super rare resource. I don't know what this is going to mean in the future, but for example, we have, what's it called? Let me see. Let me show you. So, for example, we have cashmere. This is super rare, right? So, if in the future there's a new meta where we have to use cashmere, I'm only gonna allow my guild members to farm this. You know what I mean? So it's important to to have control of your thing. It's not always about like allowing everybody. So it doesn't really matter where you're located as long as you're serving your guild. Oh, how did I find it? Oh, that's your question. Yeah. Bro, talk to me. Talk to your boy, bro. Of course, I'll give you the alpha. Right here. It's not 100% accurate. Some things are missing, but like, you go right here. So you go like this. You see, they only show 8 neighborhoods, right? They only you can encounter a little bit of problems. For example, my neighborhood in the map is neighborhood 6. But in the actual game, it's not called Neighborhood 6. It's called Sunlit District 3. So it's kind of confusing. They still haven't matched it correctly. But at least you can see the lands that are available in a certain neighborhood, right? For example, let's see if we can find like lands together. For example, there's only one here. Like, let's say you wanted to buy a few lands together, you know. People are not selling it anymore because after I showcase what I did, nobody's selling lands like together. Not a lot of, you know, for example, you can buy 3 lands here. 600, not bad. 500, not bad. Actually, not bad. You know, not bad. 3 lands right here. 600, 1,000, 100 plus 800. Yeah, that's not bad. Your average is not that bad. You know, your average is like 600 per land. Or 650 per land. You get 3 lands together in one spot. Depending on what you're building, of course. $569. That's too expensive. Like, I wouldn't buy that. Too expensive. That one's mine. I put it for 50K so I can like actually find my land. Because sometimes you don't know where you're located and you're like, fuck, man. So you start clicking neighborhoods and you're like, where the fuck am I? So I put this one for 50K so I can know this is mine. But yeah, red capital is a little bit expensive. That one's not bad. $4.99. If you can be patient, maybe somebody will sell you another one there, but bro, it's hard, bro. You know how hard it was for me to achieve this? It's crazy, bro. It was crazy hard. It was crazy hard. I had to convince at least 10 people. I had to convince at least 10 people. The next person I have to convince is this motherfucker right here, selling for 10K. Nobody's gonna buy that land for 10K. Maybe they will. But if I buy that land for 10K, like if somebody buys that land for 10K, like that's $5,000, bro. Like that's not worth $5,000, you know? I offered him like 1,000 RON or something like that. He didn't take it. I don't think anybody else is gonna buy that land ever again. So this guy right here, he was selling it to me for 5,000. I was like, bro, like I'm not paying 5,000. You know, he's not even playing the game. This guy also didn't want to sell it to me, and he's not even playing the game. He's like, oh, based on the location. I'm like, bro, these guys are so lost. This guy was so lost because he said, oh, based on the location. I'm like, bro, I had to explain to him that my location is actually bearish. If you're an investor, you don't want to have a land that people have to go to a directory to find the land, right? If you're an investor, you want to be where everybody's gonna roam around, right? You want to be in the open world, right? You don't want to be in districts. Districts are good for guilds, right? Districts are good for guilds that are building a community, and then the community goes to that land to support the guild. Just like your village, right? Yeah, they're not, exactly. They're holding the lands and they're not allowing the economy to flow. If I cannot build my guild, I cannot make content about it, right? It's like, these people are dumb. You know, they want their lands to go up. But people like me and you, if we can't build our guild and you're selling me lands for 10K or 5K, the game is never going to take off. Like, don't be an idiot. Like, I want you to make money, but don't fucking sell me things like super expensive. Like, I wouldn't be able to do this. You know, and if I can't have a guild, if I can't have a community, then the game is not going to grow. So instead of selling me shit for like 20x the actual price or 10x, bro, okay, make it 3x, you know, make it 2x, make it 4x maybe, you know, maybe I would buy it, maybe because I have now that I have most of the lands here, if you sell me this for, you know, if you sell me this for 1,000 or 1,500, maybe I'll consider it. But you're telling me like 5K and you're not even using it. You don't even have a building. If you have a building on it and it's already generating quanta, that's another story. I would be like, you know what? Maybe I'll consider it. Or maybe I'll give you, if you tell me 5, maybe I'll give you 2,000. Because you already built on it, it's already generating quanta. Fine. You know, I want it, I need it. But bro, your land is on 0, right? We don't even know the price of quanta versus like XP. Like, bro, like only an idiot would pay 5,000 or 10K for a land, you know, a settlement. Like, come on, like that should make some sense. So you're stalling the game economy when you do that. Actually, you're not helping the game. You're not helping the game. And some of these people have a lot of lands. You know, they have a lot of land. So it's not like him selling me a land for a decent price, for like a fair price, is going to affect them in any way. Some of these people have like 50 lands, 30, 40 lands, you know? And it's like, bro, like, you're not playing the game. You're not doing anything with it. You really think, do you even understand how the game works right now? Because do you really think somebody's going to pay you 5,000 for a settlement? And you're not even in the open world of the game? It's a fucking directory. Only content creators and big guilds are going to be able to funnel people here, right? Because as a content creator, when I make a video and I tell people, hey, yo, guys, check out my lands right here. This is how you can join our guild. This is where we farm, blah, blah, blah. Go to Yellow Haven, then go to the district. Only content creators can communicate that, right? If you really want to just be an investor and a passive investor and do nothing, you build something like a gathering station and then you put it here in the middle, right? And people are going to farm that. Like I have a few, like this one's mine. You know, I'm selling it for 6,500. I don't know if it's going to sell, but for now I'm making money there. If somebody buys it, cool. If somebody doesn't buy it, cool. Then I have another one right here, which I'm not selling yet, but am I selling it? No, I'm not selling it. This one, oh, I am selling it. 6,500, but in the meantime, I'm making money. I'm making quanta. But these people are not even doing that. So. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what's going on. I think some people bought lands early, like in 2021. They did like a private sale. So there are some investors that got lands like super expensive back in 2021 because obviously they were in the middle of the bull market. And now they got their lands delivered. They got their lands delivered and they don't want to let it go for less than what they paid for. That's what I heard. Some people told me that. I think somebody commented on one. Oh, that's because a lot of people, some people bought lands, investors bought land super expensive back then or whatever. And I think that's what's going on with a lot of OGs. It's like imagine you, me, Cloud White, Coco, and everybody that you can think of from the OG gang. Imagine if we bought Axie lands for the MMORPG like in 2021, super expensive. And then now the MMORPG is coming out, which is basically what we did anyway, or a lot of us did. And we bought in the bull market anyway, a lot. Not everybody bought it in the bear, like in 2020. A lot of people bought in the bull. So imagine being that person that held the Axie lands, and now you don't want to let go of your lands for $300. You know, you want to let it go for $3,000. Who's this? Let me see. Let me zoom in. I have to like do this weird zoom in. Oh, let me see. Let me say hi. Hi. I'm Kagi. Who is this? I hate that we can't change our name. They're like, this person's probably like, who the fuck are you? Is that you, bro? Chuck, is this you? Yo, add me as a friend, bro. Chuck. Oh, there you go. Invite. Chuck, do you have a ring by any chance? By the way, I do have to claim my ring here. 2000 mana, baby. Bam. Wait, I don't want to invite you. I want to send you a friend request. Yo, now what's next plan for our guild in Runiverse? What you need? Right now, what we gotta keep doing is farming, bro. Farming recipes and then inscribing them. That's basically what we gotta do for now. That's our job right now. There's not a lot of content anymore. If you completed all the quests and all of the stuff, there's not a lot of content. So right now the meta is farm, accumulate resources, right? Obviously farming our land so we can get in Quanta. So like I said, depending on the lands, but most of the lands is gonna be 10% of all the quanta that we make is gonna go to a treasury. Some of them is gonna be 20%. I still gotta determine which ones are gonna be 20. Some of them are gonna be 10. So, you know, farming in our lands is gonna be important so that we can have a nice little quanta treasury for the guild. Let's see how this one's doing. This one has 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. This one has 4 billion already. So really nice. So 10% of that is gonna go to the treasury. Yeah, and so on. So on my land, should I build? Well, you have a lot of land. I think you should build gathering resources, and we can also like farm there and help you. You know, just gotta like tell people to help you out. I'm gonna get out of here. I'm gonna go. Actually, do I have recipes? I don't even know if I have recipes right now. Looks like I do. But I don't know what color are these. Sometimes this game confuses me. Because it doesn't... Oh my god, don't tell me. It broke, bro. What the fuck? It doesn't tell you if it's like a red mage, you know. Why am I spawning here? What? The actual fuck? What was that, bro? They need to fix the game, bro. Like that's a little bit of what frustrates me about this game, bro. Like, why did it break? Why did I? Did you read the post by Runiverse team? Oh, I haven't. When did that happen? Let me see. Oh shit. April 24th. Dungeon run. Oh shit. 5 players will win a homestead land weekly. 3 players will win a settlement. Dungeon completion prize. Fully complete all dungeons during the period at least 1 time each, and you will be guaranteed a bonus urge of 200 million quanta. 1 lucky winner will receive a settlement. Okay. Gathering tree rumor. Oh. New. Oh shit. Upcoming events. Let's read this on chat, on stream. Wait. It's not that appealing. It's all right. So far, it's all right. Property owners can share their quanta earnings across co-owners, builders, and other players. Okay, in the next update, let's fucking go. That's amazing. Let's go. That's amazing. Thank you for this. Let me see. That's great. Now we got to figure out what's the best incentives for players to inscribe. Probably gonna give them 100% to inscribe. Yeah, something like that. Me too. Sick. Let's see how the community kind of comes together with this. Let's see. I wish I knew what I own too. That's something that bothers me too. Like, I have to click to see what I got. I don't even know what I have. To like inscribe, you know? So hard to like. I need to go to the forge though. Jesus. Do I have any yellow? Oh, there you go. We have to grind harder, man. Hello, can this game work? Oh, I should have put it here. Yo, Kagi, we all agree $200 bull run, bull run. Yeah, you're right. I literally scammed you guys. Yeah, you mean like actually look into the districts? Yeah, I think they should allow you to go into any district that you want. I agree. Why make it tedious? I don't know. Look, all I will say is that look, there's a lot of things I don't like about the game right now. Like this, for example. I'm here fucking stuck. Like, this annoys the fuck out of me, bro. Like, it annoys me. But at the same time, the way I kind of cope with it is that, but I don't want to cope with it like for too long, you know? Because you get comfortable like coping with this shit. And then 1 year down the line, nothing has happened in the game in terms of like updates or whatever. Like, we cannot afford to do that. We cannot afford to let the team go to sleep, right? We can't do that. We gotta push hard. We gotta tell them to update the game. We gotta be like, we gotta push because, you know, I spent a lot of money already in this game. So I want them to fix the game. But this shit is unacceptable, bro. Like, I'm literally going into a building here. Like, it's not like I'm doing some crazy shit. And I can't even load in. And it makes the experience so, like... I'm probably gonna spawn somewhere else. Look at this. Why am I spawning here? Why am I not spawning in my spot? That's exactly what bothers me, bro. I'm out. I'm gonna log out now. Alright, let's play this game now. Let's play Realms of Alurya. The lands are going pretty cheap here, so let's see. Maybe this game takes off. New game on Ronin, guys. No, I have a chat with them. Like, I have a chat with the team, and you know, I give them my input, and they have fixed a lot of things. At the beginning, you couldn't even travel to cities. I'm the one that basically pushed for that, and they implemented it. Like a week later, they're like, okay, yeah, boom, they put it. I was like, bro, like, I have lands in cities. What do you mean I can't go to my lands? You guys promised that the cities were going to be available, and they're not available. So, you know, I have given them a little bit of input. I've been pretty harsh. I've been pretty harsh to them, like, in terms of, like, you know, I didn't give them any break, you know. So I have other things that I want to tell them to fix, you know. But, like, you also got to be a little bit patient with them because, you know, we got to give them the benefit of the doubt. But if in 1 year, the shit that we want implemented, or in 6 months, the shit that we want implemented is not implemented, you know, I'm gonna lose my mind. I'm gonna lose my mind. I'm telling you right now. Another thing you gotta understand is that this team comes from like AAA, right? AAA background. Like the Runiverse team. So they're not used to releasing games in open early access. Hello there. AAA games finish the game first, like 3-4 years, and then they release a beta after like 4 years. They're not used to doing this. So for them, it's a whole different. It's like they have AAA background, but they have to behave like indie devs. So I'm pretty sure that's why I want to give them a break. You know, it's a little bit different. So right now I don't have any questions. I just want the game to get better, like in terms of the loading screen. Yeah, all those things. Wait, I can actually. Wait, should I craft more health? I think I should. Craft more health potions. Let's see. Right here and chicken legs. There we go. Chicken thighs. $30 potions. Bam. Alright, let's fight. Fill the rage bar. Okay. Wait, this is a pretty strong... What's happening here? This motherfucker's pretty strong. This spider is crazy. What? Oh fuck. Wait, I gotta take care of this. Bro, wait a second. What is going on? Bro, I'm not powerful enough. What the fuck? Yeah, I gotta kill this fucking chicken. You kidding me, man? Bro, those spiders take too much energy, too much health. I'm so dead here. Bro, I need to get better gear. I think I'm just gonna leave dungeon now. I think I gotta go level 1 dungeons. Alright. Well. Alright, I'm gonna leave it here, guys. Ladies and gentlemen, I will be live again tomorrow. So I'm gonna try to start going live again every single day. Thank you guys for watching. I appreciate everybody that came through today. We did a lot. Let's see, we streamed for 3 hours and a half, played 2 games, and we reacted to the town hall. So there it is. I'll see you guys tomorrow. Take care. Have a good night. Have a good morning. Peace.